The most unexpected surprise for me yesterday at the Xbox Showcase was undoubtedly the announcement of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And I don't think I'm alone in that surprise. It seems to have caused quite a stir amongst the flight simming community. And in this video, I'm going to get into the reasons for exactly why that is. So we start with the fact that Flight Simulator at this point today is just shy of 3 years old. And already it's been announced that it's getting a sequel. Yes, Flight Simulator 2024 is an entirely new game. Microsoft have confirmed that much. Other than that, very little is known about the sim other than what was revealed in the trailer, as well as a brand new FAQ that Microsoft have released relatively recently after the announcement. We're going to get to that FAQ in just a moment then, and it will address some of the concerns. But firstly, I want to talk about why so many people are surprised. It really does come down to the fact Microsoft have committed to Microsoft Flight Simulator for a 10-year plan. And along with that commitment, Microsoft have stated over the past few years that they do view Flight Simulator as a live service title. And as with most live service titles out there, they generally tend to go on for a long period of time, many years in fact, and generally don't get any sequels, at least not for an extremely long time. So having a sequel turn up within just 4 years of release is certainly unexpected, although not necessarily unprecedented with the live service titles. The second point of contention is that obviously flight sims are one of the genres where people do spend a lot of money. Microsoft Flight Simulator does have an in-market game place where they sell third-party content. They also allow the sale of third-party content from external sites that can be directly plugged into the game. In many cases, this content is priced at a very high value. Sometimes, it can be £5, it can be a couple of pounds, it can go all the way up to £50, £60 or even more. It means that a lot of people have spent hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So they had certainly reasonable cause for concern as to what's going to happen with all of these add-ons and this huge investment when it comes to the sequel. So let's jump over to the FAQ and get some answers to all of that. So Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 FAQ, we can see the trailer again. Microsoft state that the trailer was a short teaser to introduce Flight Simulator 2024. They give the usual spiel about being excited about sharing more information in the coming months. They would be monitoring the feedback to the trailer very closely and apologise for the delayed communication. So it seems they didn't really expect the kind of reaction they got. Perhaps they should have done. But we would like to take this opportunity to address the most common questions, and this is where we really get to the meat of it. Will Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 be a standalone sequel, or will it also be offered as a paid update for existing users? Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is a standalone simulator and the next generation sequel to Microsoft Flight Simulator that launched in 2020. Current aircraft and airports that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, as well as virtually all marketplace add-ons, will be supported in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So that really does seem to address the main concern. If you have invested hundreds, if not thousands of pounds in add-ons on marketplace content, it will be supported in the sequel. The question is still out on what happens if you bought it from third parties' websites rather than the in-game marketplace. Moving on, what kind of support can Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 players expect to see once Flight Simulator 2024 has been released? We will continue to deliver our Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 roadmap, which has content ranging from aircraft and avionics updates, sim updates, city and world updates, and also the free June DLC. And they say they will continue to support Flight Simulator 2020 even after the 2024 release of the sequel. So that's good to know. What I find a bit curious about this though, and perhaps a little bit concerning, is it seems they will be supporting 2 flight simulators at that point. And anyone who's been paying any attention to Flight Simulator 2020 will be aware that the Sober Microsoft have been struggling to keep up with the content here. They did have to slow down on the release cadence, and some of the bugs that were there on day one are still outstanding, and there's been other bugs and issues introduced over time. How they're going to manage to support 2 titles then is, really remains to be seen. One thing, I guess another thought here that does really give here, another random thought, is it's quite obvious there's got to be a massive distinction between the two simulators. Otherwise, why support both of them? No, they don't really want to directly compete with themselves after all. The last point on the FAQ is, will all purchases users have made from the marketplace be transferable to the new simulator? With very few exceptions, virtually all add-ons that work in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 today will function in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Add-ons that were purchased from the in-simulator marketplace will not need to be repurchased in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, so I'm sure that's going to be good news for a lot of people. That said, the remaining questions are outstanding. What does this mean for third-party developers? Are they going to have to rejig any stuff they've got in development right now? Are they going to see a decline in sales between now and release of Flight Simulator 2024? After all, will people really commit to purchases, especially from third-party websites? And that final question, what happens to content that has been purchased directly from third parties? Will this also be compatible with the new version of the sim? Very interesting questions then. Either way, I'm really keen to see where Microsoft are going with the new Flight Simulator. Like I said yesterday in my initial reaction trailer, I do really like what they're showing there. The new extreme weather systems, the new ground-based missions, they all look really good and very impressive. The graphical updates also look really nice. It does seem that Microsoft are taking Flight Simulator in a slightly more gamey direction. But so long as they fully support all the sim elements, I've got no real issue with that. In fact, I do I'm quite keen to see that actually, bringing the sim to a wider audience in terms of delivering some actual gameplay could really do wonders for the longevity of the game. Now, why have Microsoft Flight Simulator done this? We can only speculate. One reason, or one thought I do have here, is that it goes back to the outstanding bugs and the outstanding issues that we have seen with Flight Simulator 2020. These have been there since release, a very long time. Some people would probably tell you they've been there since before release, at least some of the people who had access to the beta back in 2019. These would be things such as AI with the other planes, the live traffic. Live weather has issues. There's a lot of issues with terrain, issues with trees density. Photogrammetry still has problems. ATC doesn't work. The list goes on and on. Those are just problems off the top of my head. Now, what if some of these problems haven't been fixed because they cannot be fixed, and that they're rooted in deep core elements of the engine itself and, the code, and that the only real reasonable way to fix these issues and address them is by completely rebuilding the game? Maybe that is why we're getting, at least part of the reason why we're getting Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. That and the missions that they've shared in the recent trailer, perhaps they just wouldn't really work in the existing sim. Again, pure speculation. Do let me know your thoughts on why you feel Flight Simulator or Microsoft are releasing a brand new Flight Simulator so soon, or do you think 4 years is a suitable gap? After all, that is generally how it has always been traditionally with the franchise. Every few years they did release a new version, at least historically so, but that was well before the advent of live service titles. So again, do let me know your thoughts. What do you feel about this brand new update? I'm kind of torn. I'm very excited to see all this new content. I think it's a great move to see all these big improvements that seem to be implied through the trailer. But yeah, it feels very soon and very sudden, quite unexpected. But certainly pleased to see that at least most of the add-ons will be supported, even though there's still some outstanding questions in regards to that. Either way, let me know what you feel about this in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.